The rain had begun its steady descent well before Alex and Lila slipped into the labyrinth of the city's back alleys. Neon lights fractured in the puddles beneath their feet, casting fragmented shards of electric pink and blue that danced with every hurried step. The distant wail of sirens mingled with the omnipresent hum of digital advertisements towering above the skyline, a cruel reminder of the ever-watchful eyes that followed their every move. Alex's breath came in shallow bursts, each exhale a mist swirling into the cold night air as he kept pace beside Lila, whose eyes darted anxiously toward every shadow. "We don't have much time," Alex murmured, voice low but steady, his hand brushing an old, worn leather jacket close around his frame as they navigated toward their rendezvous point. "The system's algorithms are still recalculating. That vote delay was a narrow window, but it's closing fast." Lila grip tightened briefly on his arm, a silent anchor amid the storm of her apprehension. "Do you really think this will work? That I can disappear from their feeds?" Alex glanced at her, the neon glow highlighting the tense set of her jaw. "It's the best shot we've got. But we're not just fighting for you anymore. This is bigger than one person." They reached the nondescript door of a cramped safe house tucked between two towering Halley billboards. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of recycled oxygen and faint traces of burnt circuitry. Mira sat hunched over a battered terminal, her platinum hair catching the flicker of holographic data streams that cascaded around her like digital waterfalls. Her fingers moved with practiced grace over the glowing keys, decrypting and rerouting signals in a desperate dance against the omnipresent surveillance network. "Status?" Alex asked, dropping his soaked jacket on a chair. Myra didn't look up. "The platform's vote algorithms have been paused temporarily. We've triggered a feedback loop in their data centers. Lila's profile is effectively hidden from the scheduled execution list. You've bought her some time, but it's fragile." Lila exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she was holding, a flicker of hope breaking through the haze of fear. "So, I'm safe. For now." Mira's eyes finally met hers, sharp with caution. "Safe is a relative term. The system will adapt. It always does. We need to keep moving." The room's fragile calm shattered abruptly as Lila's wrist device blared a shrill alarm. A cascade of red warnings flooded the small screen. The live stream platform had recalibrated. The vote was back online, and the hunt had resumed with renewed vigor. Alex snatched the device, swiping through the incoming data. "They've reinstated the kill order and boosted the surveillance grid. Every camera, every drone, every sensor in the city is locked onto her." Panic flickered in Lila's eyes. "They won't stop until what?" Alex interrupted gently, forcing calm into his voice. "Until they've turned this city into their stage and you into a spectacle. But we're not going down without a fight." The three of them hurriedly packed their gear, the stark fluorescent lighting casting long shadows on the peeling walls. Outside, the storm intensified, rain lashing the narrow streets, masking their movements but amplifying the distant echoes of the city's restless pulse. On the rooftop of a nearby building, Alex paused, scanning the sprawling urban landscape. The kaleidoscope of digital billboards and neon signs flickered in the rain, mirroring the chaos below. The media empire's influence was woven into every pixel, every bite of the city's digital fabric. He clenched his fists, the weight of the battle pressing down on him. This isn't just about saving Lila. It's about breaking the hold of a system that feeds on our obsession with death and spectacle. The night stretched endless before him, a battleground of shadows and light where every move was watched. Every heartbeat could be broadcast live. As the storm raged on, so did their fight, fragile dangerous, but fueled by a relentless hope that even the darkest system could be challenged. Alex turned back towards the stairwell, determination hardening his features. We keep moving, we find a way, we expose them. Behind him, the city throbbed with the pulse of 1,000,000 viewers, hungry for the next show. But Alex knew the truth. The real story was just beginning. The glow of holographic screens cast eerie shadows across Alex Mercer's cramped apartment, the only sanctuary he had left in this sprawling neon metropolis. Each screen flickered with fragments of data, some barely legible, others stark and horrifying. He had been digging through encrypted archives for hours, hacking through firewalls built to bury the past, to erase the memories that might ignite a revolution. Tonight, he was chasing ghosts, digital ghosts. His fingers danced over the virtual keyboard, eyes narrowing as a fragmented livestream flickered to life. The scene was chaotic, a violent tableau of a murder broadcasted live. Yet the metadata showed it had been scrubbed clean from every official archive. No trace existed outside this hidden cache. The victim's face was blurred, the timestamp distorted. Yet, Alex knew what this meant. Someone had tried to erase her existence, not just from memory, but from history itself. He leaned back, heart pounding. This wasn't just about Lila anymore. It was a systematic annihilation of truth, a rewriting of reality curated by the unseen hands controlling the media empire. The scheduled murders were but a symptom of a deeper sickness, one that infected the collective consciousness of the city and beyond. A soft chime broke his reverie, a secure message from Ria, the whistleblower who had risked everything to expose cracks in the system. She invited him to meet at an underground cafe, a refuge where whispers of rebellion still circulated. The cafe was tucked beneath the city's neon haze, lit by flickering violet signs and the muted glow of augmented reality advertisements. The air smelled of damp concrete and burnt coffee, a stark contrast to the sterile digital world outside. Ria sat in the shadowed corner, her violet hair a beacon against the gloom. Her voice was low, urgent. "They don't just control the live streams, Alex," she said, sliding a dataship across the table. "They erase the past. Every victim, every broadcast that threatens their narrative disappears. The public forgets, and the system stays intact." Alex inserted the chip into his portable reader. The holographic projection revealed a timeline of erased events, each one a ghostly void in the public record. "Digital ghosts," he muttered. "People who never existed," Ria nodded. "And that's the worst part. The system doesn't just manipulate the present, it controls the collective memory. If you can rewrite history, you control reality." Determined to understand the full scope, Alex returned to his apartment to explore further. Slipping on his augmented reality headset, he immersed himself in a simulation of past live streams that had been distorted and fragmented by censorship. Scenes flashed before him, faces frozen in terror, screams muffled by digital static, moments of violence replayed in broken loops. They were not just recordings, they were echoes of lives stolen by a system designed to entertain at any cost. The weight of it pressed on him, a haunting sorrow for the forgotten, and a fierce urgency to act. How many more had vanished? How many stories had been rewritten to serve a voyeuristic public addicted to spectacle? Days blurred as Alex pieced together the fragments. Each revelation brought new dangers, shadows lurking in the corners of the city and the network. Yet, amidst the darkness, the flicker of resistance grew. He and Lila were no longer just prey. They were becoming the spark of a fight for truth. On the rooftop of a crumbling skyscraper, Alex stared out over the cityscape bathed in vaporwave, hues neon pinks and electric blues painting the night sky. The digital ghosts of the past whispered in the hum of servers and the flicker of screens. In this world, reality was malleable, history a battlefield. But Alex's resolve was unyielding. The system could erase memories, manipulate votes, and orchestrate murders live for ratings, but it could not extinguish the human spirit forever. He whispered to the night, "We'll make them remember." The damp chill of the subway tunnel pressed against Alex Mercer's skin as he followed Lila deeper into the labyrinth beneath the neon-lit city. Their footsteps echoed softly against cracked concrete walls, the faint drip of water a metronome to their hurried pace. Above, the city roared with digital life advertisements flashing, crowds murmuring, and the omnipresent pulse of live streams broadcasting death and despair for the masses' insatiable appetite. But down here, in the shadowed veins of the metropolis, a different kind of battle was being waged. Lila's hooded jacket hung low, obscuring her sharp eyes which darted nervously around the tunnel. Alex's senses were on edge, not just from the cold, but from the knowledge that their very survival hinged on the fragile trust they were about to forge. The scheduled murder looming over Lila's head had forced them into this underworld, seeking allies beyond the prying eyes of the media empire. A faint glow appeared ahead, a flickering neon sign barely visible through the grime sanctuary. It was the code name for the Resistance's safe house, a hidden refuge for those who dared to oppose the spectacle of death broadcast to the masses. As they approached, a figure stepped from the shadows. Mara, the Resistance leader. Her presence was commanding. Jet black hair cropped close, eyes sharp and calculating, and tattoos that told stories of battles fought in silence. "You're late," Mara said, her voice low but edged with urgency. "The media empire's reach grows every day. They already have eyes everywhere." Alex nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "We don't have time. Lila's execution is scheduled. We need to move fast." Inside the safe house, monitors lined the walls, casting a cold blue light over a room filled with tense faces. Digital maps pulsed with data streams, each line and node representing a piece of the sprawling network controlled by the media conglomerate. Jox, the Resistance's tech specialist, sat at the center, his cybernetic implants glowing faintly as his fingers danced over a holographic keyboard. "We've intercepted some new encrypted feeds," Jox said without looking up. "They're ramping up surveillance on Lila's movements. If we don't act quickly, she's a sitting target." Mara stepped forward, her eyes meeting Alex's. "This isn't just about saving one life anymore. It's about disrupting the system that thrives on our addiction to watching death. We're trying to tear down a media empire built on voyeurism and manipulation." Alex looked around the room, seeing the faces of those who had risked everything for this cause. Paranoia lingered in the air, thick as the smoke curling from a half-forgotten cigarette. Yet beneath the tension was a spark of something rarer, hope. Over the following days, Alex and Lila integrated into the Resistance's operations. Jox's hacking skills revealed the intricate web of digital puppeteers controlling the scheduled murders, and Mara coordinated clandestine strikes aimed at severing the media empire's grip on the city. But each victory was shadowed by growing danger, their movements tracked, their communications infiltrated. One night, far above the city's glowing skyline, Alex and Lila found a rare moment of quiet on a rooftop overlooking the sprawling metropolis. The neon lights blurred into a kaleidoscope of colors, advertising slogans blending with the distant hum of drones and digital chatter. "Do you really think this will work?" Lila asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex glanced at her, the weight of their shared burden clear in his eyes. "It has to. We can't let them win. Not like this." The silence stretched between them, a fragile thread of hope tangled with fear. Below, the city thrummed with the restless energy of a society addicted to spectacle, oblivious to the war waging in the shadows. As dawn approached, the underground resistance prepared for their next move, a gambit that could either shatter the media empire's control or seal their fates forever. In this world where every click and vote could mean life or death, Alex knew the stakes had never been higher. And as the first light crept across the horizon, he vowed that no matter the cost, they would fight the darkness with every ounce of their resolve. The underground was no longer just a refuge, it was the last flicker of a rebellion against a digital tyranny that consumed humanity's soul. But would it be enough? The answer lay in the shadows, where hope and danger danced on the edge of a razor's blade. The underground bunker was thick with anticipation, the stale air heavy with the scent of damp concrete and electronic hum around the holographic projection that pulsed softly in the center of the room. The resistance members gathered, their faces a mixture of determination and exhaustion. Alex Mercer stood slightly apart, eyes scanning the tense assembly. The digital map flickered, highlighting various nodes and streaming data points that represented the media empire's sprawling control networks. Jox's voice cut sharply through the quiet. "We can't keep playing defense. It's time to strike at the core, disrupt the infrastructure, sever the feeds. That's how we break their grip." His cybernetic eye glowed faintly as he pointed at a cluster of streaming servers pulsing red. Myra stepped forward, her shaved head catching the blue light from the projection. "You're reckless, Jox. Sabotage will only escalate the surveillance and tighten their control. We need to win hearts and minds, expose the corruption through truth, not violence." Her gaze locked with his, fierce and unyielding. A murmur rippled through the group. The ideological divide was widening, threatening to splinter their fragile unity. Alex felt the weight of the moment press down on him. "Enough," he said, his voice steady but firm. "This infighting plays right into their hands. We need a plan that balances both strike smart and expose the system. We can't afford fractures now." Jox's jaw clenched, but he nodded slowly. Myra's eyes softened, though the tension lingered like static in the air. Cade, standing near the back, crossed his arms, his cybernetic arm worry softly. Alex caught his skeptical glance. Later, as the meeting dispersed, Alex stepped outside. The neon rain fell in slow streaks, casting shimmering reflections on the cracked pavement. The city's distant drone hum was a constant reminder of the ever-watchful eyes above. Alone for a moment, Alex let the weight of uncertainty settle over him. The resistance was fractured, the execution date looming like a guillotine over Lila's fate. Inside the bunker again, in a shadowed corridor, Alex confronted Cade. "You don't trust the plan," he said quietly. Cade's gaze was cold. "Trust is earned, Mercer. Right now, I'm not sure we're on the right side of this fight." The metallic clang of a distant pipe echoed between them, underscoring the fragility of their alliance. Alex exhaled slowly. "We don't have the luxury of doubt, at least, not yet. But I hear you." Back in the main chamber, Lila sat alone, her violet hair glowing faintly under the cold light of the monitors. The digital countdown to her scheduled execution flickered relentlessly on the screens around her, fracturing her reflection into shards of light and shadow. Her eyes, wide with fear and defiance, traced the numbers as they edged closer to zero. The fractured alliances, the ideological clashes, the looming threat, it all pressed down on Alex's shoulders like a storm about to break. In this crucible of distrust and danger, every decision was a line drawn in the sand. And the question remained, could they hold together long enough to defy the media empire's deadly spectacle? As the rain continued its relentless fall outside, Alex knew the battle for Lila's life and for the soul of their city was far from over. The lines had been drawn, the stakes set, and the hourglass was running out. The night deepened, and with it, the fragile hope of resistance flickered precariously against the overwhelming tide of manipulation and control. But in the shadows of that underground bunker, amidst the fractured loyalties and simmering tensions, the fight for truth and freedom was just beginning. Alex's gaze hardened. Tomorrow, the lines in the sand would either hold or be washed away forever. "We're not done yet," he whispered to himself, as the screens around him pulsed with the silent countdown to oblivion. The room was swallowed in a flickering cascade of holographic screens, each one displaying the same horrific scene, a leaked live stream of a murder, raw and unfiltered, ripping through the curated facades of the city's digital entertainment. Alex Mercer sat rigid in his cramped apartment, the neon glow from the holoscreens casting long, spectral shadows across the peeling walls. His eyes, dark and tired, were locked on the chaos unfolding in front of him, a brutal reminder that the game was far from over. The footage played without mercy, every detail, every sound, every agonized breath of the victim broadcast to the masses in real time. The city's addiction to true crime spectacle shattered any illusion of safety for Lila and himself. The leak had reignited the public frenzy, and with it, the media empire's grip tightened like a vice. Lila sat across from Alex, her hands trembling as she tried to steady her breath. "They're watching," she whispered, voice barely audible over the hum of the screens. "Everyone is." Alex didn't answer immediately. His mind was racing, calculating, running through every possible scenario. "This changes everything," he said finally. "They're losing control. But that also means they'll double down. We need to act now." The room was cold, the air thick with tension. The glow of the neon signs outside seeped through the cracked window, painting Lila's face in shades of violet and blue. She looked at Alex, a flicker of hope battling the fear in her eyes. "What do you have in mind?" she asked. Before Alex could respond, the sharp beep of an incoming message interrupted the moment. Jox's encrypted call cracked through the static, his voice low and urgent. "They're mobilizing security forces." The leaks made waves across the net. "We don't have much time." Alex nodded, already moving toward his cluttered workstation. "Then we take the fight to them. We hijack the next scheduled broadcast. Expose everything. The manipulation, the votes, the lies." Jox's cybernetic eye flickered as he processed the plan. "It's risky. They'll come for us hard. But if anyone can pull it off, it's you." The next hours blurred into a fevered rush of preparation. Alex and Lila slipped into the underbelly of the city, moving like shadows through neon-lit alleyways and forgotten tunnels. The underground hideout where Jox waited was a stark contrast to the dazzling chaos above a cold, steel sanctuary filled with the soft hum of encrypted servers and flickering monitors. Together, they sifted through streams of corrupted data, decrypting layers of the media empire's control mechanisms. Each revelation was a dagger, each truth a spark threatening to ignite the tinderbox of public outrage. Lila's paranoia was palpable, her eyes darting to every shadow, every unexpected sound. "They're everywhere," she murmured. "I don't know who to trust anymore." Alex placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "We have to trust each other. That's all we have." Outside, the city was unraveling. Digital protests surged across hollow billboards, the public's reaction to the leaked footage a volatile mix of fear, fury, and denial. Riot sirens wailed in the distance, the streets a maelstrom of clashing ideologies and desperate cries for change. Alex's plan was audacious: seize control of a broadcast van stationed at the media hub, hijack the scheduled livestream, and flood it with the unfiltered truth. The risk was enormous, but the alternative was unthinkable. Another orchestrated death broadcast, another spectacle feeding the voracious appetite of a corrupted system. As he climbed into the cramped van, the cold metal beneath him felt like the prelude to war. Sweat slicked his brow despite the chill. The hum of the equipment was a steady pulse, syncing with the rapid beat of his heart. Every second counted. With a deep breath, Alex initiated the override sequence. The screens inside the van flickered, then steadied, streaming live to millions. His voice, raw and unpolished, cut through the usual digital noise. "This ends now," he declared. "You've been fed lies, manipulated votes, and orchestrated deaths for entertainment and profit. It's time to see the truth." Behind him, the city held its breath. Outside, the digital world exploded in cries of shock, disbelief, and awakening. But with every moment of exposure, the shadows closed in tighter. The security forces of the media empire were already moving, their footsteps echoing like death knells. Alex glanced at the holofeed, eyes burning with resolve. For Lila, for everyone they tried to silence, we fight back. The broadcast spiraled into chaos. Viewer numbers surged, messages flooded in, and the carefully constructed illusion of control began to crumble. Yet, the danger was real and immediate. The hunt had begun in earnest. As the van hurtled through the dark streets, Alex's mind raced with one question. Could this rebroadcast truly awaken the public before it was too late? Or was it just another step toward the abyss? The story was far from over, but for the first time in a long while, there was a flicker of hope in the neon haze. The screen cut to black,